How's it going, everyone? It's Nadavlog here with another Nadavlog. Today, I just want to talk about the new Melee rule set changes. We're first off with the entire committee thing, and then with Evo's new announcement. So let's first start with the committee. Um, Basically, with the first, the whole rule set change that happened in Melee right now is that there's going to be a committee that will basically vote on rule sets to decide things, which I think it's a very good thing. I think the community's a little upset right now, but having us actually have a group of people to discuss this and get an official rule on everything is good. Because for so long, there's a few things that were up in the air, and people said, "Oh, this is banned," even though it was at every tournament, like controller mods, etc. So that's the main point. Keeping all majors consistent, that's really nice because you might want to. Most people will tend to stay on with what the majors do, so that you're practicing the same game everyone else is. So having all the majors be the same is, I think, a pretty good idea. I think having some with slight changes could be interesting, but in general, if they should be 98% similar. Oh yeah, developing new technology, that's also good. There's a lot of changes happening, but I want to go to the actual changes, which is right here. So, yeah, bam. The biggest point is this whole thing is just a test run, and now it's, hey, there's gonna be a community. Having 5 people at the leadership and then the at large 25. I think this is a good way. I don't know exactly how it will work, but basically, I think the top 5 have the main say, but if all the 25 disagree with the top 5, they can overrule that, which is good. It's a good balance of power. This amendments thing, this is actually really nice. Is if you see something you dislike, you just copy paste this, type in info, and say, "Hey, I think this should be changed." Type in red where it would be in the rule set and send it to them. And there's been a lot of people doing this, and already sending one. There's been great updates. So this is all very good stuff. Having be a vote is good. Let's go into the gameplay rules. The game version, that was a change. For a while, there's actually 3 NTSC versions of Melee, 1.0, 1.01, and 1.02. 1.02 is the mass majority, but with... Actually, I'm not sure if there's 1.01, but there is 1.00, and it has some STI changes and some other weird things. So Young Link and Samus, I think they say are slightly better. Which, I mean, slightly more... People say it's maybe slightly better, more balanced than NTSC 1.02. I don't think it's... For me, I think it's fine, because when you go and buy a Melee copy, good 95% of the time, it's going to be NTSC 1.02. So, having that one random obscure thing change is not great for people who have never played against it before. At the top level, I don't think those changes would ever really affect people. Even I've seen I'm not positive. I think I've seen some Sam's players. I think Hugs has brought his own copy of 1.00 and played on it, and the results are similar. So I don't think this change is too bad. I think having consistency is good. So that change I like. Stage list, they got rid of the Congo Jungle 64 for doubles. No one really played in that stage, so I think that's fine. I don't really think having it in was a problem either, but it's fine with it being out. No one liked that stage. Pokemon Stadium still being legal, though, is for singles. I don't like the stage, but I will play on it. It's not the worst. It's not super janky. It's just kind of janky, so it's not... I don't think it needs to be removed, but if a stage had to go, it would be that one. This change is different too. So most times when you pick a stage, it would be rock, paper, scissors to decide who gets to ban first. And now it's people get to set a... They can decide if they want to pick the stage or their controller port first, and if you both want the same thing first, then you just rock, paper, scissors. This might have been around before, but it wasn't ever really talked about. I never heard about it until this change, so it's kind of fine. People are already making amendments to this rock paper scissors things where you do like character select stuff, or actually a typo. I always pronounce it wrong, but he had a little video about a way to do it just in the character select screen, where you basically put your character icon in the middle and like say guess if you're like if the random's gonna go left or right, and then if you do, you get it. That's an interesting idea. I think playing around with that would be fun. Bands stage causing is the same. I think they said you can't pick stages that are not legal anymore. We used to have the gentleman's rule, and I don't think I've seen that. So we won't have in Montana people or Cage will no longer be allowed to pick podium floats in Troll Grand Finals. So that's good for us. Permitted controllers. This is a part where I strongly disagree. Is they basically banned box controllers or Smashbox, Hax's box. Basically anything that's not a GameCube controller you can't use, which I think is a bad decision for a couple points. Number one, Melee community is not very it's getting bigger, but it discluding people for using a different controller is a bad idea. There's no reason that it hasn't been proven these controllers are miles better than GameCube controllers. It's been theorized that they're slight advantage over GameCube controllers, but they haven't been out long enough to have, I think, enough significant data. They've been like at a few majors in popularity. I mean, Evo is the first major I've been to where I saw a lot of them, and I didn't see anyone do extremely well except for in Project M, which side tournament, not many people play that. No one cared. So that's silly. Number two is, let's say it is miles better, but people say it's going to take like a good 5 years to get like really good with these controllers. Melee might not even be around then, so I don't know why we're worrying about, oh no, in 5 years when the game is basically dead, the people who stuck with these controllers will be better than the people who stuck with these. Like, I just don't see Melee lasting long. I hope it does, and I hope the box doesn't destroy the game, but like I said, it hasn't been out long enough to test it, and if you ban it at majors, the tournament everyone wants to go to, then no one's going to play them anymore, then we don't get to test them, and then it just dies out with people who have actual significant handicaps that can't play on the GameCube controller, can't play it. That's the third thing, is not everyone can use GameCube controller. People have like hand problems, arthritis, yada yada. The GameCube controller is not the most ergonomic thing in the world with the techniques you have to do on it. With a box, it made those easier and allowed more people to play the game, which is my first point. Like, more people need to play Melee. Even in our local scene here in Montana, we had an old player, who was like top, usually number 1 or number 2 in the state for a while, and he kind of got bored with Melee, started switching to fighting games, and we heard about the boxes. He got interest. So when I bought a box to support the project, knowing I would never play on it, but I lent it to him, and he started falling in love with Melee again. Which, oh no, one player added to your scene, it's not a big deal. For Montana it is. That's about like a not quite a 10, like a 5% increase in our community just by adding one player. That's pretty good. So, you know, it's a small scale, but adding more players is good. So I disagree with this banned controllers. Warm-ups, 30-second max on the warm-up. Oops. 30-second max warm-up, that's good. People take way too long with the hand warmers. I like this pause thing. Like, they went in depth about this pause being more of a game forfeiture. Right now, the rule, or before, the rule said was if you pause, you lost your stock. And people said, like, what if you pause and you're up 2 stocks to 1, and the person with the 1 stock was off stage and then messed up the recovery because you paused, but then you just lost 1 stock, so then therefore you still have 1 stock and won the game. So I like how they added that thing to try to get rid of like a variance of like, oh well, like it doesn't say I have to lose a game. Now it does at the discretion of the TO. So that's good. Yeah, restarts. This is actually would have been handy for Scuffle when we had power go on every setup and everyone had the game restart. So that's good. Stalling. They don't really go into too much detail on this. But like, I think they need to go in more detail with this, like what exactly is stalling. Like, it doesn't right now, it doesn't say the Icy's freeze glitch is banned, where if Nana throws one in each side B with Popo, the character is frozen. I think like things like that that are easy to see need to be explicitly said, hey, this is banned, you'll be disqualified for doing it. Like, sure, you don't want this list to be too long, but when you're having a super long, in-depth rule set like this, you should have those things in there. Rule set, I think I like that if you had like the wrong settings on the game, and you can only reset the last, like you can't reset, like you just the last game you played on. Like, let's say you had, like in Smash 4, the damage ratio at 0.9, and you played 3 games. It's like, oh, you know it's the third game. Oh, you don't get to replay the set, you just replay the last game because you accepted the first 2 games by moving on. Coaching being banned. I think coaching should be allowed, but I understand the point that if, let's say you have a coach that sticks with you and you both play together a lot and go tournament coach, and you can play against some guy who doesn't have that, then that person has a much bigger disadvantage. So the biggest issue with coaching right now is that not everyone has a coach, so that when you go to a tournament, it's a lot of like 2v1s versus, let's say, like a 2v2. And if everyone had coaches, coaching would be great because it would allow a lot more people to get better much faster, and a lot less sloppy play to happen because the coach would say, hey, you're doing this sloppy, they're catching on, stop it. So while I understand why coaching should be banned, I disagree with it. I think it should be allowed. Because I do understand though that with not everyone having a coach, it's difficult to like basically allow these 2v1s to happen in tournaments. I feel like everyone should just be able to get a coach though and have their friends come and coach, and it doesn't really help too much. Like, I got coached in Smash 4 and it made me a tiny bit better, but not significantly. The other thing I want to talk about today was like the Evo thing, which completely dealt with coaching. So I'll just go off a side tangent here. Evo made a tweet that, need to find it, yeah. Basically, he said that like coaching is allowed. The coaching break is 30 seconds, and that the trespassing on the tournament stage would get you disqualified or kicked out or something like that. And so I've been asked it, and basically what it boiled down to is you can get coached in all your matches outside of top 8, except for when you're on stage. As some people started asking, like, what tournaments you want to be on stage, and it just became a shit show. Like, right here, he says, like, so can you request this, like, Armada, who's very much against coaching, was asked a question and said, like, you know, if I'm against coaching, can I request my matches off stream? He says, no, tournament staff says who go on. You don't get a call. And then literally 7 minutes later says, yes, you can always decline to play on stage. So, which is it? Because in one scenario, it becomes really bad luck of the draw, whether you have, like, your opponent will have a coach or not, whether you, or a slight chance of, you know, I was going to play against Hungry Box off stage, but then we went on stream, so therefore we can use his coach, and then I won. Or if the decline to play is on, I might have a video about, you might not ever see a match until top 8 because everyone was requesting a match off stream to have their coach. So I think that rule set is really silly because it literally is a geographical ban on where a coach is inside the same tournaments. So it should either be allowed fully or done. I don't think coaching is this like sprinkle throughout, you know. I understand there's a time frame, but like this is just silly. That's all I have to say about that. Okay, back to the mail rule sets. Code of conduct. This is something that they need to go much more in depth with in the future. I'm trying to remember which part it was exactly. Like they said, like you need to follow this code of conduct, but they don't say explicitly what will happen if you don't. Like there should be separate like time frame bans from your scene. I feel like for different ones, like let's say you were, like, were being like really loud or annoying, and they like to every match and screaming. Like, there's actually a video of Mike Hayes like screaming at the top of his lungs in a brawl set when Ice Climber started to chain grab him. I think that should be banned for like a week or to a month. Like, hey, that shit sucks. Get rid of it. Anything like this, anything like the sexism, this stuff, I think that should be like a several year / permanently banned. I did say that Melee needs enough players, but I'm not going to have a rapist in my community. I'm sorry. You shouldn't have a 1-year ban for a crime that should land you 15 years in jail. You should be banned permanently. I'm sorry. Like, it's... I don't know why there's an issue with this thing. Like, if... I don't want to get too much into it. I have very strong opinions about that, and I usually don't explain myself right. But basically, if you are committing like things like crimes that land you in jail, you should be banned for like double that amount of jail time at the very minimum. So that's my opinion about that. I need more in depth and say, hey, these offenses are ban worthy. So this is like their main last little thing they had. I like this is all the voting history things, which I disagree with a lot of them. One good thing I missed is that they made like case mods like notches, spring like on your triggers and that stuff legal, which is good because for a while people weren't sure if it was legal, even though there was modding booths at tournaments. So having this like officially be cleared is good. So that's all for the Melee rule set talk. If you guys want me to go more in depth with anything, just let me know and I will. I'd love to. I actually really enjoyed making this video, so thanks for watching, guys. I will talk to you later. Peace.